Hello and welcome to another tutorial. Today we will be doing the Mr. Zurkon. Right there. A boat that just shoots bullets on enemies. And it like changes directions and stuff. Check this out. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, so you know how this goes. Go on our guns, create a new folder, Mr. Zurkon, open it. Mr. Zurkon is the weapon. Zurkon bot is the actual circle that gets spawned, you know. So I'll explain how this works. Zurkon bullet is the projectile that we fire. The ammo, you know, just the ammo. So let's start with an overview of the weapon. So yeah, you know, a couple of variables right here, so we can keep track of what's up. No, the icon, you can find that weapon name is the Zurkon, max ammo 5, max level 3, animation type, yeah, none. We don't really need something, I'll explain why. So, you know, level up and begin play, you can see the values right here, 7 and 12. Now, we've got a Zurkon bot and first body spawned. We have this boolean because if this is not spawned then we try to access it is a null variable. So custom events spawn a Zurkon bot. So if the first body spawned, and this basically means if the bot is alive, if you spawn the bot and the bot is alive. So if it's not alive and we have enough ammo, we're going to just spawn a bot. But if you have not spawned the first bot, we're going to just spawn it and set the first bot spawn to true as well. We set the reference here. So this get bot spawn location is the same as the get bomb glove initial location, but right here we've got a bigger multiplier, so it's further away from the player. So back to our event graph, scale 0.5, rotation we don't care, always spawn, ignore collisions, and yeah, pretty much that's it. So on our tick, if we spawn the first bot, yeah, we're just basically going to keep around with our logic because we don't want to access a empty Zurkon bot variable. And if the Zurkon bot is alive, we're just going to increment the lifetime. If it's greater or equal than 60, we're going to destroy it, set the lifetime to 0, and then back here on our bot, this turns to true and this turns to false, and we can like spawn another bot. So if we go back to our UI gameplay, circle our weapon picker graph, there we go. So I changed this part right here. So on our gun pick end, you can see I put a switch on weapon name. So if the weapon name is weapon, we're just going to keep the hatchet, the wrench. If it's Mr. Zurkon, we're going to grab the weapon name from the weapon roster of the player, which is Mr. Zurkon. And if it is, we're going to cast it and try to spawn a Zurkon bot, because we never keep the actual weapon. We just spawn the bot as soon as the weapon is selected. And default, just regular gun keep. Now, also, do not forget on our weapon name to class, we're just going to add Mr. Zurkon, return node, Mr. Zurkon right here. So you know it's got a space if you see in the middle, so that's it. Yeah, so let's take a look at our the ammo. So quantity minimum 1, maximum 2, not that much. Let's close this circular weapon picker. Now the bot, it's pretty easy logic. It tends to get a bit complicated. So sphere and arrow. Let's make the arrow visible so we can see where the bot is pointing at, and you can like extrude it or something so it looks better. We've got a couple of variables right here. The target, which is what the bot is locked on currently. The target, which is a temporary variable while we scan. The origin, which is actually the location of the player that we're going to offset from, so it follows the player. Horizontal amplitude. So horizontally the the distance we want to keep from our player. This is actually calculated right here on the begin play. So we grab the current actor's location from the third person character's actor location, then we get the length, and that's the amplitude. Has locked on target. A boolean, if we're locked on a target, used again to prohibit us from accessing a null target variable because we cannot check it another way without C++. So let's see the logic. This is a little overview. I know it looks a bit chaotic. It's pretty simple actually. So begin play. We set the timer by event every 1 second. The bot is going to try to shoot, and we set this looping, and then we just go ahead and set the horizontal amplitude. Now, if we're locked into the target and the boolean goes right back here, we're going to use it another 2 times so you can see. And if the target is valid and he's close enough, so less than 5,000 units away from the player, we're just going to do a line trace for objects, for wall static, dynamic, pawn, and destructible. If the actor hit is equal to the target, then we're going to spawn the bullet and set it homing, set the homing target component, set the velocity, yada yada yada. We've done it a million times. Now, as you can see, the bot, while it spins around the player, it may go behind him, and we don't want the bullet to go shoot through him or something, so that's why we do that. So that basically means if the player is between the target and the actual bot, it's not going to shoot. So you can do it a better way. You can just figure out the math so it never needs to happen, but I actually don't want to get such into complexity. I can do that, but it's not good for the tutorial. It will take a crap ton of time, plus I don't get paid, so now next part is the tick. So we're just going to calculate the time passed. This we're going to use it not for the lifetime, but for some trigonometry on the road ahead. So we're going to get the first person character's origin, then we're doing a sequence. So the first part is the calculation of the target. The second part is the rotation, and the third part is the location. So let's skip the first part and then you'll take a look at it. So let's go to our rotation. If we've locked on the target, and back there if the target is alive, right here, we're going to calculate the direction that the projectile, in order to go through the target, you need to have, make the rotation from X, and then interpolate the current rotation to the target rotation, so the actual bot or the arrow, for example, faces the target, and then we're just going to set the rotation. Pretty simple logic. So now on the location part, we're just going to have the origin, offset the bot from the player, set the actor location. Now, how much do we offset the player from? Do you remember horizontal amplitude? Yeah. So we're going to make a vector. Multiply the time passed by 45 or 20. That's to get some smooth and not so slow results. So slower on the Z, so we want a more smooth and slow transition on the height difference, but not on the horizontal axis, because we want it to spin relatively fast. Now, this is a custom amplitude for the z-axis, and we're just going to plug the time times 20 to our cosine node. Same thing with the x and y, but we're going to use sin for the x, cos for the y, and we're going to multiply both by horizontal amplitude, and this is going to get us our new location, the bot spinning. So let's get into our target calculations. So if we've locked on target true, we're going to check if the target's alive. If the target's not alive, or we've not locked on target yet, we're just going to get all the actors of class with target practice. We can make this the enemy superclass. I've told it again. So set the temporary target variable. If it has actually something, so it's greater than 0, we're going to do the other logic. If not, we're going to set the lock on target. Now the other logic right here, for each loop, Populate the distance variable. We've done it 3 times already. So previous tutorials completed. Now we're just going to get the minimum one with the property distance. This is my custom function library. You should watch the first couple of tutorials and grab it. So we're going to cast to target practice. Check if it's valid as well. And then if he's close enough, we're going to set the target, set has locked to target, and we don't need that. It's a mind debug thing. If not, we're just going to set the locked on target false and no shooting is going to happen. So check out the bullet as well that we spawn. Pretty simple as well. Sphere 0.2 transform, projectile movement. Here we're going to set the gravity to 0, initial velocity to in local space unticked, and do you have something other that we need to mess with? No. So the sphere block collision preset on component hit right here. We can hit view. We don't need this too. If the hit player is our character, we're going to destroy the actor, but if it's not our character, we're just going to apply some damage to the hit actor. Base damage 3, energy bullet damage, damage type class. You know how it goes, vent instigator, damage causer. That's the Mr. Zurkon setup. Be sure to check the forum thread, check the Data's website. It's a very cool one. Another cool courses for blueprints if you want to, learn more stuff. Also check the drive folder link on the forum post in order to get the free assets. See you in the next tutorial, and thanks for watching.